Financial Survival Network, helping you to survive and thrive in the new economy. Get our complimentary newsletter at financialsurvivalnetwork.com. This is the Financial Survival Network.
These are tough times, and they're getting even tougher. The clock is ticking. The countdown to collapse is well underway. What are you going to do about it? Will you just wait for it to happen, or will you be ready when it happens? The decision is yours, and yours alone. Join myself, Mickey Fulp, Robert Ian, David Morgan, Jeff Berwick, Elijah Johnson, Alan Butler, Gregory Manarino, Daniel Amaduri, Andy Hoffman, Tekoa Da Silva, Trace Mayer, one of the world's leading Bitcoin authorities, Bix Weir, Jay Taylor, and Gary Christensen at the Liberty Mastermind Symposium in Las Vegas on February 21st and 22nd, and learn how to create your plan to survive the collapse. The last Liberty Mastermind Symposium was one of the most highly rated conferences ever, and this one promises to be even better. Don't miss it. Join us and register now at libertymastermind.us. libertymastermind.us. This one is going to be out of this world, and it's going to be even better because it's in Las Vegas, Nevada. Go to Liberty Mastermind US and sign up today. You are listening to the FinancialSurvivalNetwork.com. I'm Kerry Lutz on 1230 WBZT. Well, you probably heard of David A. Bego, author of The Devil at Our Doorstep. Must reading if you care at all about the struggle that's going on between business and forced unionization. David's been through it. He's fought the fight, and he's won. And you just can't believe the extremes that the union thugs will go to force legitimate businesses to buy into their party line. David, welcome back to the show.
Well, Kerry, thanks for having me on. It's always a pleasure.
Hey, so the fight continues, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does, Kerry. And, my book was about my fight with the SEIU and our 4.5-year battle and beating them. And now I'm fighting the UAW. And they're using the same tactics against us, but they're also using them, across the country in right-to-work states like Florida, where you're at, and up in Tennessee and Mississippi, where they're trying to force unionize people because, the union bosses are desperate, and that's what this is all about. It's about the union bosses, their lifestyle, and their political power. It has nothing to do with the employees. All they want is their money. And it's sad what's going on, and they're desperate, and, they're so desperate, in fact, this past week they came out, and the UAW is going to raise membership dues by 25%. So that tells you what it's about right there. They don't care about employees. They don't care about the employers and whether they're successful. They care about themselves.
Hey, how much does a union thug boss make who's head of one of these unions like the UAW or the SEIU?
Well, I don't know the stats for all of them, but I know that when Andy Stern was running the SEIU, he was, between his salary and his book, he wrote a book and they were paying him for that and everything. I mean, he was in the approaching $500,000, somewhere in that range. And, I don't know where some of the others are, but they're up in those ranges. And but what's even more disturbing than that is that you have local people, like I know out in California, the gal that's in my book, Miriam the Mighty, who she has to be part of the SEIU because she worked for the state of California. She had sent me an email several months ago about the local union boss, a woman, had voted herself a $50,000 raise from $100,000 to $150,000 a year. And this is voted herself. This is corrupt stuff. And while she did it, she did a couple of her henchmen the same type of raises. And they're using this money again for their lifestyle and also for the political power they can gain in getting laws and regulations changed so they can force unionize people.
Hey, and what we didn't talk about is what's happening in Detroit. We've got, it also is what happened in Michigan. against Rick Snyder's, really, he didn't want to do it, but they passed a right-to-work statute in Michigan, meaning no forced unionization, and Detroit went bankrupt the same year, and now we're talking about a dramatic clawback or striking down, minimizing of pensions in contravention of the Michigan Constitution, state constitution, which said you will take no action to minimize state pensions of government workers. Judge Stephen Rhodes basically said that the Chapter 9 of the U.S. Bankruptcy Code trumps the Michigan state constitution, and all these retirees and soon-to-be retirees of the city of Detroit are looking at dramatic reductions in their pension payouts.
Well, yeah, and Detroit's a perfect example, and of course, the GM going into bankruptcy and being bailed out a few years ago is that, and I know, we've talked about some of these columnists for like the Washington Post on that talk about that the real reduction in America is due to the fact that unionism is on the decline and other things like that. Well, the truth is unionism and globalization both are at fault for the decline because, America, the unions came in and they benefited from all these negotiations where they had high wages and pensions and other benefits and stuff like that, things that we couldn't afford when globalization kicked in. And now we have to compete in the rest of the world, and places like Detroit just, deteriorated. And I grew up in Fort Wayne, Indiana, not that far from Detroit. I used to be a Detroit Tiger fan, was up there a lot and that. It's terrible. It's criminal how that city has fallen apart up there, Kerry. It's just, and the unions have a big part in what happened up there.
Of course they do. And so do the, let's face it, so did the companies, because it was easier to just give in. And when they owned the market, they could just give in to the union demands and just raise the price of the vehicles. And that's what they did for 30, 40 years. And then all of a sudden they discovered that they had competition. And, oh my goodness, we have competition in the form of these Japanese imports that at the time had a price advantage. And all of a sudden their monopoly, their oligopoly was gone, and they had to compete. And my goodness, look where we are now.
Oh, you're exactly right. And, the problem is, Kerry, is they haven't learned their lesson. As I stated in my blog, we were cleaning a GM plant up in Kokomo, Indiana. And here's the strange thing about this whole thing. When we started in January 2012, everybody in the plant loved us. We replaced 30 United Auto Workers with 26 of our own people. Now, the auto workers did not lose their jobs. They were absorbed into the plant, okay? They loved what we're doing. They said, this 60-year-old plant's never been cleaner. You guys get more done in a day than we got done in a year. And this went on for 6 or 7 months, no problems at all, until the UAW International found out about it. As soon as they did, they came to me just like the SEIU did and wanted me to sign a neutrality agreement so they could card check or force unionize our people. Of course, if I signed that, I had to give them a list of our employees and their home addresses so they could go to their home and intimidate them into signing the cards. Well, I refused, and this went on through Thanksgiving of last year, 2012. And finally, they petitioned for an election, and it was held January 8th of this year, 2013. And the day before the election, they knew we were going to win. And so the UAW went to Detroit, had a high-level meeting with GM, and the GM broke down and agreed that all that the UAW had to do is go back and tell our employees that they'd get a huge raise and other benefits and stuff like that if they voted the UAW in. So that night, the UAW had a pizza party with our people and told them that, and they voted the union in the next day. Now, here's where it gets interesting. That same day, UAW purchasing called me and our people and told us, hey, we reached this deal, and we'll pay for whatever it's going to cost to do this. Well, on the other side, the GM plant manager was telling us, and he was not involved in the negotiations in Detroit, by the way. He was telling us, hey, we can't afford any increases like this. So they voted the union in. We filed charges with the National Labor Relations Board that were thrown out because, it's pro-union now. And the UAW came to us and wanted to negotiate, and I told them no because, the people in Washington that were appointed by the president have been found unconstitutional, and all their decisions are on hold. So the UAW got mad, went back to GM, and GM put pressure on us to say, look, whatever it costs you, we'll pay you. And it was almost going to double our contract cost. And I told them no because it's wrong. You should have come to me before if you wanted my people to have raises, not through the union. I understand the plant's in trouble anyway. I'm not going to do something because people are going to lose their jobs. They canceled our contract because the UAW threatened them with a strike. We were out of there September of this year. And since then, Kerry, here's the really sad part. What I told them has come true. They have laid off 13 skilled tradesmen in the plant because of this increased cost. And on top of that, I understand some of our ex-employees who are now at the union company have been taken to part-time because they're trying to reduce cost.
Really? No kidding. Huh.
The GM has not learned its lesson. And what do you do? And, I'm trying to get the word out. I'm trying to tell people. It's not that I'm against GM. I'm trying to get people to understand what's going on out here that's costing us jobs. And what I understand at Kokomo is this whole plant could close.
Is that right? Huh. Well, serves them right, I guess. That's what they wanted. That's what they got, right?
Yeah. And, then that shows you how desperate the UAW is because, we had 26 full-time employees. And now, so they had 26 new people paying dues. They lost 13 in the plant, so they got a net gain of 13. But that still isn't enough for them. They just came out here recently and said they're going to increase membership dues across the country by 25%. How would you feel if you were a UAW member?
I think I'd feel a little taken advantage of and a little abused, wouldn't you?
Yeah, and but the good news is people are waking up to it. The union people are waking up to it, and I'm getting information all the time from employees in California that they're seeing a change. People are getting tired of the SEIU out there. I've got UAW people in Michigan who work in a Ford plant. They're the ones that got right to work going up there, and they're tired of the UAW. And I think we're seeing a seismic shift, and it makes no sense to me because the UAW they continue, insanity, doing the same thing over and over again. They don't understand that they have to provide a service that benefits their members and helps employers be better.
Yeah, of course. And it is a global marketplace, let's face it, right? You can't just expect that people aren't going to go elsewhere and think that they don't have a choice. And, right? You can't think that.
That's exactly right. And if, other people in the world are willing to do it for less money, we're going to have to fight that challenge and either become, here's the other thing is productivity. I told you, when we took over the GM plant, we were doing the same job with 26 people. They had 30, and we were doing better. That's productivity. And, this country needs productivity. We have to be competitive.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if you're not competitive, then what are you going to do?
Yeah, and, it's not that I'm anti-union. I've told people this. In fact, I'll be honest with you, I've seen some companies, and I know some companies out there that should have unions because of the way they treat their people and the way they do things. They don't have safe work environments and stuff like that. But the unions, they just have kind of a blanket mentality. They look at it and say, we're just going to try and unionize everybody. We don't care if you're good or bad. Everybody should be a union person.
Yeah, well, I remember in college, somebody, one of my professors saying, if a company has a union, then in this day and age, then they really deserve it.
Yeah. Well, that's not true when the unions are forced unionizing people, and that's what they were doing back then. They were doing card check a lot behind the scenes back then. But I'll give you an example. We're in the cleaning business. We bought a company about 10 years ago, and about a week before we were going to close, the owner of the company called me and he says, "Dave, you may want to back out of this because one of the places we clean just unionized our employees." And I said, "Well," his name was Chuck. I said, "Chuck, why would they unionize?" And this was a place in a cold weather environment, and our people had to do a lot of outside work. And he says, "Well, they wanted me to provide them with jackets and hats and gloves and that because they did a lot of outside work." And I said, "Well, Chuck, why wouldn't you do that? They're your employees. You should protect them and take care of them." And he says, "Oh, I just didn't think it was my duty to pay for that stuff."
Mm-hmm.
And I said, "Chuck, you're crazy." I said, "We'll close the deal. I'll deal with the union." And we closed the deal, and we negotiated with the union, and we've had a good relationship with them ever since. But if he'd have done the right thing, we'd have never had a union there.
Yep, totally correct. Anyway, Dave, we got to run on. So just tell us where we find you, where we get your book, and connect with you.
Well, they can go to my website, thedevilatourdoorstep.com, and they can see my blogs and pick my book up and my previous book, The Devil at Our Doorstep, which, by the way, was just used in a Supreme Court case to defend an employee, and which I'm very glad to see. And or they can go on to Amazon and pick up the book also.
All right. Excellent. So great. And also, don't forget, go to financialsurvivalnetwork.com, sign up for our newsletter, and we will be talking with you again real soon, Dave. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Kerry. You take care now.
You too. What happens if the collapse never really comes? You need income, and Jason Hartman can help you get it. He's helped thousands of people realize their dreams of financial independence through real estate investing, and now he's got an unbeatable offer for you. He's offering my ebook, Forget Wall Street, Go for the Gold and Silver Too, for free. Just visit jasonhartman.com/Lutz. The first 100 Financial Survival Network listeners will get the book free. Remember, you can't afford to put all your eggs in one basket. Real estate should be part of a balanced investment portfolio along with gold and silver. Just go to jasonhartman.com/Lutz and sign up today. When it comes to real estate investing, Jason Hartman is the only person we trust on the Financial Survival Network. So make your money work as hard as you do by building an income property empire. Real estate is America's proven investment. Go to www.jasonhartman.com/Lutz and get your free ebook today. That's Jason, HARTMAN.com/Lutz. That's Jason, HARTMAN.com/Lutz. Jason knows how to help you retire with a portfolio of income-producing property. Go to jasonhartman.com/Lutz. Our friend Tom Dyson at the Palm Beach Letter is giving away free copies of a really cool report he put together called How to Protect Yourself from America's New Secret Police. Inside, you'll learn all sorts of simple, everyday tricks you can use to make yourself a little less visible and vulnerable to scammers, hackers, and even the federal government. For instance, inside Tom's report, you'll learn which free internet email service never to use. This company doesn't care if your account gets hacked or not, or things the government must tell you if they request your social security number, and how to spot skimmers lying in wait on ATMs and gas pumps, and much, much more. These tricks and secrets are low-hanging fruit ideas. You don't have to invest time or much money into them. Most are free. But by taking some basic measures, you can make your privacy much harder to invade than your neighbors. Tom's report is available for a limited time to listeners who take a trial subscription to his newsletter. Just visit the Financial Survival Network homepage for more information or go to www.palmbeachletter2.com. That's www.palmbeachletter2.com.
The Financial Survival Network, helping you to survive and thrive in the new economy. Get our complimentary newsletter at financialsurvivalnetwork.com. This is the Financial Survival Network.
Hi, it's Kerry Lutz. I recently decided to move my retirement account into physical precious metals to hedge against the coming times. If you want to move an existing retirement account into physical precious metals that you can hold in your hand, tax-free, there's no company that can do it more quickly and efficiently than Regal Assets. It took them just 24 hours to open my new IRA account, and all I had to do was fill out one simple form. The best part is that Regal Assets does all the work for you. They cover the setup and administrative costs for 2013. If you're interested in making the same move I did, call 855-678-6620, 855-678-6620. That's 855-678-6620, or visit them at regalassets.com. You'll be glad you did, and tell them Kerry sent you.
The Financial Survival Network, helping you to survive and thrive in the new economy. Get our complimentary newsletter at financialsurvivalnetwork.com. This is the Financial Survival Network.